Hi, I'm Aiman. Welcome back to another video in the series of converting our patio into a 3-season sunroom. In my last video, I showed you how to cut, measure, and install the wall sheathing onto the side of our sunroom. In this video, I'm going to show you how to nail the wall sheathing into the side. And it's really important to talk about this because there's actually a building code that determines how you nail it in order to maintain the strength and integrity of your wall sheathing and your sunroom. Well, actually, it doesn't just apply to sunrooms, pretty much any residential structure, but first, I'll put some nails in. And for this job, I'm going to be using some 60 nails. I'll talk about actual nail specifications later. But first off, this is what the nails look like. And also talk about why we use nails instead of screws. It's not just about building code, but there's a reason why. So first off, you have to measure out where you want to put the screws. And by building code, they have to be at max 3/4 of an inch. No wait, I actually meant 3/8 of an inch. I'm sorry, we're rushing a bit because it's getting darker, but I'm gonna take a step back and take it slow. I also said screws instead of nails. You want to take your nails and make sure that they're spaced at maximum 3/8 of an inch away from the edge, and if it's in the corner, 3/8 of an inch from both edges. And as for spacing, the maximum amount you want to go for is about 6 inches apart. You can go 4 inches, and some people even go 3 inches. And if you don't want to measure it out, then you can always use a guide. For example, like from the distance from my thumb to my finger is about 6 inches. So when I nail the nails in, I can just use my finger as a guide to nail them in. And you can see we already put a mark here as to where we want to put the nail. And another thing you can do is you can also pre-drill the holes, because if you don't pre-drill the holes, there is a risk that when you nail it in, it might split the board. I guess let's nail it in. All right. So this is going to be a bit hard because holding it with a glove is always a bit of a task. All right. Got good angle. There we go. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is that when you're nailing an entire wall sheathing in, you want to work your way from the left to the right, or the right to the left. And what I mean by this is you shouldn't put nails on one side, then go over to the other side, and then nail it in here. And the reason why is because both my dad and the internet agree is that leads to an increased chance of warping in the middle. And we've actually seen some pictures of while they're working on the roof when they're putting in OSB, they tried putting it left and then the right, and then it was curved. And if we still have those pictures, we'll probably link it, but we'll see. But anyway, what I mean is you want to work your way down here, put down all of the nails, move on to the next row, including the filling, or the fill, which is the studs on the inside. You want to put all your nails in. And actually, this one's not in yet. Make sure that the nails are flush. Anyway, after you do this, you want to keep working your way over to the end. Oh, I actually misheard my dad when he was explaining it. So this part in the middle with the stud is actually called fielding, not filling. And they call it fielding, I guess because like with a field, it's in the middle, like an open field when you're in. Anyway, you get what I mean. And when you're actually doing fielding, you don't have to go for a 6-inch spacing between the nails. You can actually go for an at max 12-inch spacing. We still do, and as you can see, we actually did about a 12-inch spacing. But anyway, enough about the procedure of how to nail the nails. We're going to be talking about the types of nails that we're using. So the types of nails that you use depend on building code and also your needs. First off is the length. So over here we have an assortment of nails. This one right here is 6D nails. This is 8D. And we also, never mind, we don't have 10D, but 10D is longer than 8D, and 8D is longer than 6D. You can see 6D is 2 inches, 8D is 2.5 inches, and 10D would be 3 inches. And as you can see, 4D is 1.5 inches. Very confusing, but there, as you can see, there is a pattern. What I mean is that the length of the nail that you're using to nail in the wall sheathing depends on the thickness of the plywood that you're using and on the building code. So for example, here we have a 7/16 or 1/2 of an inch plywood, and we want to make sure that the nail penetrates a lot into the stud. So the general rule that I've heard people use is you want to use the length of the plywood, or the thickness of the plywood, or the OSB, plus 1.5 inches. So if this is a 1/2 inch plywood, plus 1.5 is 2 inches. So you want to use a 2-inch length nail, which would be 16. Now make sure that you check up with your local laws when you're building or you're trying to decide what length of nail you should use, because it does vary by town or city. Some say 60, some might say 80, but always make sure to check up on your local laws. As for what type of screw, there isn't really much in the building code to specify that. For example, the material of the screw, you could use common steel nails, which look like this, or you could use what is mostly recommended is galvanized screws. No, not screws, nails. And the reason that galvanized nails are recommended is because they take a longer time to rust. And the reason why is because galvanized screws are covered or hot dipped and covered in zinc, which means that they take a longer time to rust, which is about 50 years. If I'm right, I think like regular steel nails take about 20 years. So this is obviously the better option in the long run, though it might cost you a bit more. If you want to go for stronger nails, then then beyond the regular nails, they also have patterns or textures to the nail that make it a bit stronger, like these deformed or spiral nails, or ring nails, or what's it called? Ring shank nails. And either the ring shank or the deformed increase the strength of your nail. And that's another topic that we should discuss, because the ultimate question is, why do we use nails instead of screws? The benefit of using screws is that you can always take the wall out, but the benefit of nails is that they're stronger. See, with a building like this, you're always going to be encountering things like wind or some other factors that are going to be testing its strength. And the thing about wind is it acts in multiple directions. See, both screws and nails are strong in the direction that they're fastening, but as soon as you go this way or this way, the screw isn't going to last as long compared to the nail. To demonstrate, we actually took this screw that we already put in, and we tried to knock it by knocking its head left and right. And it took us about 6 or 7 knocks to actually knock the screw completely clean off. However, with a nail, it's strong enough, or I think the word is malleable or ductile, I forgot which one it is, that it will actually bend, but it won't break. So nails are much stronger than screws when they're facing something like wind or anything that acts like with shear force. So actually, I might as well try to demonstrate it. We'll probably cut it if it doesn't actually work, but I'll try knocking it. I actually don't know if I have enough strength to demonstrate this, but we'll see. Okay, and then we're going to switch the direction of it. Okay, let's try. I think this is going to be it, guys. Oh! Wow, that didn't come off the satisfying clean that I expected, but as you can see, the screws only took about 4 or 5 passes for it to break. Okay, the nail's probably going to take a longer time, but I guess we might as well show it because it's dark anyway. As you can see, it's bending pretty easily, but it's not breaking. If I go through here, this was actually a pretty big problem when we were working on disassembling the deck in the backyard, because it was such a hassle to get the nails out because they kept bending whenever we tried to take them out. So, I mean, they kept bending but not breaking off, which was a safety hazard. So we're on our third pass. We're on a fourth pass. Okay. So we're going to straighten it. Oh. Okay. And if I keep doing it like this, it's probably going to take me a while to actually take it out. So we're on about our 7th pass now. And as you can see, that nail is not budging at all. It's not breaking. So as you can see, it took us about 8 passes for us to completely break the nail, whereas with the screw, it took us about 4 or 5 passes. So as you can see, nails are much stronger when they're facing multi-directional forces like wind. And when you're securing a nail, when you're securing OSB to a wall with a nail, it'll take a lot more wind to actually break the nails than if you use screws. And also, another thing that plays into the strength of your nails is the length. So according to building code, if you properly space the nails, then 8D nails will withstand winds up to around 100 to 110 miles per hour. But 6D nails, which are shorter, I should add, can only withstand about up to 80 to 85 miles per hour wind. And I guess another thing is that it doesn't really matter what brand nails you use, obviously. If we do end up putting in the description what nails we use, then we'll use grip right nails. We got them from Lowe's. But I guess that's pretty much all that we have for this video. I also want to add that in my last video, I forgot to mention it, but I did talk about it. The reason that we oriented our OSB boards like this, instead of having the this rough side on the inside, is because the rough side has these guidelines that when we're going to be climbing out the window are going to be very helpful to us. But if you're more curious about why we oriented the board this way, you can go check out my video on the specifics of the OSB board, and I'll see you there. But for now, I'm Aiman, and today I talked about the procedure, the type, and the sizing of the nails that you should use for nailing wall sheathing to the wall of a structure. In our next video, I'm going to be showing you how to cut the holes for the window, and also putting the filler tape, the flashing tape, in between the gaps in order to make an airtight seal. But that's going to be for another day because, as you can see, it's getting dark. So I'm Aiman, and thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and look at other videos on EyeOnAiman, especially our videos on converting our patio to a 3-season sunroom. And I'll see you there. For now, signing out.